Time to get some rollerblading. It's 15 degrees Celsius. Not too shabby, eh? Do you think freedom of speech actually exists? If we were all blind, would nasty feelings like racism still be there? Do you know that Indiana Jones film where he and his old man are taking it from the Nazis? Do you remember that character, Zala? He was the one who called the tank that metal beast. It's the same actor, John Rhys-Davies, who played Gimli in Lord of the Rings. Why does no one give him a second thought? He never got into any trouble in real life. Maybe that's why. Unlike Will Smith, who was in some great films during the 90s and early 2000s. But why can't some folks let go of the fact that he slapped some bloke on telly? It's probably just a handful of people anyway, isn't it? Those making a song and dance about it. Have you ever heard of Carl Jung? He would say, if you can't forgive someone, it's probably because they represent something you can't stand about yourself. Sounds deep and intriguing, doesn't it? Carl Jung was a psychoanalyst, a contemporary of Sigmund Freud. Jung talked about one's shadow, your dark side. If you address your own darkness, you'll become enlightened and learn to accept yourself completely, apparently. Freud, on the other hand, was a bit of a mess, wasn't he? Would you say he projected his own baggage onto his patients? What if he was the one who needed help? Carl Jung said, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. Do you think we become free of our own ego the more we face up to our own evil? That's just a bit like accountability, right? What do you reckon Minotaurs represent in Greek mythology? A Minotaur was half human, half bull. The internet says they represent the internal tussle between civilized man and primitive man. There's this Mexican equivalent to do the block which is way, Orgway. It means steer, a castrated bull. I'm not entirely sure what the origin of it is, but we call each other way a lot in this country. It can be used in a snarky way to call someone daft or beast-like in their thinking. These days though, way is mostly just used casually in a friendly, banter-filled way among peers. Way, make way. What comes to your mind when you see or read about this symbol? The symbol of a bull. The Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan maybe? The Pamplona running of the Bulls in Spain? A food brand perhaps? Carl Jung said that symbols pop up from the collective unconscious. His symbols are supposed to be universal and crop up across cultures, myths and dreams. Mental, but cool, innit? Symbols, according to Jung, act as bridges between the personal and collective unconscious. I just find that really interesting and completely nuts at the same time. Jung psychology is mainly about inner transformation though. It helps us confront our unconscious fears, desires and potentials head on. I personally subscribe to that. Would you subscribe to that? Jung said, the shadow forces you to confront your darker side. Do you think he means it like a bit of a wake-up call? I don't know, but learning to admit when you're in the wrong. Learning to stop the endless quest for validation from others. Or learning to heal from resentment really appeals to me, I gotta say. It's just completely different to superstitions and religions, isn't it? They're more like artificial constructed systems of belief, aren't they? They just offer a bit of superficial comfort and a half-big sense of community. But they don't really dig deep, do they? Would you say superstitions are more like external coping mechanisms? It's just that, for me, you know, carving a lucky charm sounds like an awful lot of fluff, to be honest. What about religious rituals, moral codes, and weird rules? I don't think they can help us free ourselves from our own darkness. Are we all slaves to our own daftness? Superstitions and religions are too outward focused for my taste these days. I quite frankly think they're a bit useless. Probably even downright dangerous. They're like the bullseye of the Minotaur. Primal, irrational, and a bit of a liability, if you ask me. I would say the civilized side of the Minotaur, the true enlightenment, comes from honesty, rationality, and a good dose of accountability. Am I digging too deep into this rabbit hole? How do we make sense of life, the self, and the great big unknown? I am an invention, dark alarm, Briareus' hands, striking the bells of my blood. Whose toll am I? I think too much each morning the Minotauromachy through the night. I swing the sickle of my wonders, our harvest work, touch and worry, spend on, and each day burning my debt to fail. In the night, what the night reaped I am. Every answer, the mathematics or anxiety, how any more can solve. The mesquite tree for the pyre in my chest. I am two-hearted, always love. And what love becomes arrive when they want to unhungry the locusts. Disappeared the fields, then themselves I bent. Wept alone on the threshing floor, no foe and stick. To the feast I wept. For the locusts I know, and what it's like to be appetite to your own appetite, citizen, or what savages you to the bloom, pleasure from your wounds and to bleed out. From that first earth, like mine was shaped on thirst, I dream, what is where to my quench, aquifers, rivers, and no is canals, the dusked mirage. Of lake above your knee I sip and lick, my tongue blush. As the fluorescent here a jackrabbit I obey. What I don't understand, then I become it which needs no understanding. The astonishment of my body's limits, how it is easily divided by a black field, and the black field multiplied in stars the throng of a love constellating like any desert. I learn myself by what's desired of me, and I am demoned by those desires. For this I move like a wound always, and fruit and sweetened by the thorn, the tumbleweed turns and turns until it bursts, free all its pores into the wind until it is only what it might become. There is no such thing as time or June, only what you're born into, only waiting for the rain, for the flood, for what erupts. My battlements and my tired eyes in beauty, Mojave, Asta, desert, Club Malo were once, was terrible, nothing, there is no God. You're in these flesh showers, though your jaw is a temple and your ribs stride like an axe the labyrinth I injure myself against, but you, couturier by me, come softly into the pool. None on my body, and not unknowingly you've heard me churn, and lather yet knock and enter together We are the color of magnets and also tattooing manganese lodestone ores. The light will not touch, so we touch the light, give it to one another until we are riddled and licking with it. What else can we prostrate ourselves before the large feet of our creators, if not the diminishment of the body? This book of scars, sand grinds like gears between my tears, sparkling small machinery of want. What question can I ask of the thing I am? All I have done and failed to do the furrows I tear with my grieved mouth, a map of myself carved by my own nonce. I have a name, yet no one will say it, not roughly. I am your native in this, my universal labyrinth. Here I am. At your thighs lie like clear pools of ablution. Take my body, make of it a nation, a confession through you. Even I can be clean.